The story of Ukraine, a nation's journey through history. Ukraine is a country with a long and fascinating history, located in Eastern Europe. It is known for its rich cultural heritage, fertile lands, and the strength of its people. Throughout its history, Ukraine has been shaped by empires, invasions, and a continuous struggle for independence. This is the story of Ukraine from its ancient beginnings to the present day. The history of Ukraine begins thousands of years ago. The region was home to one of the oldest civilizations in the world, the Tripilia culture, which existed between 4,500 and 3000 BCE. These early people were known for their agricultural skills, pottery, and large settlements. During the first millennium BCE, Scythians and Sarmatians lived in what is now Ukraine. These nomadic tribes controlled the vast steppes and were famous for their horse riding and metalwork. Later, Greek colonists established trade cities along the Black Sea coast, connecting the region to the ancient Mediterranean world. In the 9th century, a new political entity emerged, Kyivan Rus. This medieval state, centered around the city of Kyiv, was founded by Viking traders and warriors known as the Varangians. By the late 10th century, Kyivan Rus became one of the most powerful states in Europe. A key moment came in 988 CE, when Prince Vladimir the Great adopted Christianity and baptized the population. This event connected Kyivan Rus to the Byzantine Empire and brought literacy, architecture, and religious traditions that would shape Ukrainian culture for centuries. Under Prince Yaroslav the Wise, 1019 to 1054, Kyivan Rus experienced a golden age. Kyiv became a center of learning, law, and art. However, after Yaroslav's death, the state fragmented into smaller principalities. In 1240, the Mongol invasion led by Bega Khan devastated Kyiv. This marked the end of Kyivan Rus as a unified state and the beginning of foreign domination. After the Mongol era, Ukrainian lands fell under the control of various powers. By the 14th century, Western Ukraine became part of the Kingdom of Poland and the Grand Duchy of Lithuania. Eastern Ukraine remained under Mongol and later Crimean Tatar influence. During this time, the Cossacks emerged. They were independent, warrior-like people who lived on the steppes along the Dnieper River. By the 16th century, the Cossacks formed a powerful military society, known as the Zaporozhian Host. They defended Ukrainian lands from invaders and sought to maintain their autonomy. In 1648, the Cossack leader Bohdan Khmelnytsky led a rebellion against Polish rule. This resulted in the creation of the Cossack Hetmanate, a semi-independent state. However, in 1654, Khmelnytsky signed the Pereyaslav Agreement with Tsar's Russia, seeking military support. This agreement eventually led to increasing Russian control over Ukraine. By the 18th century, the Cossack Hetmanate was dismantled, and much of Ukraine was absorbed into the Russian Empire, while Western Ukraine fell under the control of the Austrian Empire. During the 19th century, Ukraine remained under foreign domination, but a cultural and national awakening began. Ukrainian intellectuals and poets, such as Taras Shevchenko, played a key role in promoting Ukrainian identity and language. Shevchenko's poetry captured the hardships of Ukrainian peasants and the dream of independence. Despite efforts to preserve Ukrainian culture, the Russian Empire imposed policies of Russification, banning the Ukrainian language and suppressing national movements. Meanwhile, in Austrian-controlled Galicia, Ukrainian cultural life thrived more openly, fostering a growing sense of unity. World War I, 1914 to 1918, weakened the empires controlling Ukraine. In 1917, following the Russian Revolution, Ukrainians declared an independent Ukrainian People's Republic. However, Ukraine became a battleground for competing forces: Ukrainian nationalists, Bolsheviks, and Polish forces. By 1922, Ukraine was forcibly integrated into the newly formed Soviet Union as the Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic. The 1930s brought one of the darkest chapters in Ukrainian history, the Holodomor. This man-made famine, orchestrated by Joseph Stalin's regime, resulted in the death of an estimated 4 million Ukrainians through forced grain requisitioning and agricultural policies. During World War II, Ukraine became a key battleground between Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union. Millions of Ukrainians died during the conflict, and the country suffered enormous devastation. After World War II, Ukraine remained part of the Soviet Union, but became one of its most industrialized republics. However, political and cultural repression continued under the communist regime. The collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991 provided Ukraine with an historic opportunity. On August 24, 1991, Ukraine declared its independence, which was confirmed by a national referendum in December 1991. At the time of independence, Ukraine inherited the third-largest nuclear arsenal in the world from the Soviet Union. However, under the Budapest Memorandum, 1994, Ukraine agreed to give up its nuclear weapons in exchange for security assurances from Russia, the United States, and the United Kingdom. By 1996, Ukraine had successfully dismantled its nuclear arsenal, becoming a nuclear state. The post-independence years were marked by economic challenges and political struggles. However, Ukrainians continued to push for democracy and closer ties with Europe. In 2004, the Orange Revolution erupted in response to electoral fraud. Mass protests led to a peaceful rerun of the presidential election and greater democratic reforms. In 2013-2014, the Euromaidan movement began after the government suspended plans to sign an agreement with the European Union. The protests grew into a nationwide demand for democracy and an end to corruption. This led to the ousting of President Viktor Yanukovych, but also triggered conflict. In 2014, Russia annexed Crimea and supported separatists in eastern Ukraine, leading to ongoing violence in the Donbas region. On February 24, 2022, Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. The war brought destruction and humanitarian crises, but Ukrainians demonstrated extraordinary bravery and unity. Under the leadership of President Volodymyr Zelensky, Ukraine has continued to defend its sovereignty while receiving international support. The war has highlighted Ukraine's long-standing fight for independence and the enduring spirit of its people. Ukraine's history is one of resilience and courage. From the ancient days of Kyivan Rus to the modern struggle for freedom, Ukraine has overcome immense hardships. Today, Ukraine stands as a symbol of hope and determination. Despite the challenges, Ukrainians continue to defend their identity and fight for a brighter future. If you enjoyed this story, like and subscribe English Audio Cafe for more inspiring history lessons.